Are you sick of this yet? I am not. Let's continue making next actions. But I am going to skip the cabin spreads because one, it feels overwhelming, and two, it's autumn, so a lot of these things won't be relevant until spring. So if I go through these and make next actions, there will be a lot of, Googling, discussing, and not a lot of action. So for the time being, I'm leaving that and actually skipping to crafting. First of all, I'm going to pull this out to simplify the process. And I made a cheat sheet of the different contexts I've got so far, so that can help me think of a next action if I'm, well, having a hard time. So this page is, the heading is mass making, and it's a list of things I can do if I feel like crafting, but I'm not feeling creative, just, I want something to do with my hands while I'm talking to someone or watching TV or whatever. I can do these things. So they don't need next actions. They are next actions in themselves. But on this page, I have crafting ideas. That is, things I might someday do. So I'm going to think of possible next actions for them. The first one is that I'd like to, this is an idea from Monique Smith that I watch a lot, to put a placemat with strings, like these strings, the kind of strings you've got in a TN, Traveler's Notebook. Put the strings on the placemat and place in, just a minute, this cover. So this is one of my possible setups. It's not very polished yet, but it's, I bought this leather cover at a yard sale, and it has pockets in the back and front, so you can put inserts into them. And you can also put a cut down placemat inside, so that you can put the strings on the placemat and not around the spine like this. So I'm going to try that. And the first step, I guess, is to find a good placemat that's supple enough and all those things, and then I'll cut it down. So yes, placemat for the Owl TN. Next up, I'd like to maybe put my MBTI report and my, how do you say this, Ayurveda stuff in a junk journal where I have my birth horoscopes. So I think I've actually put them in, I haven't glued them in, but I have put them inside the cover, but I'm not sure. So it's a typical check thing. So have I put my MBTI report and my Ayurveda stuff in the horoscope junk journal? And if I have, I guess the next step after that will be to tear the pages, like to make them like they're printed documents. So I want the edges to be torn, and then I want to tea dye them or coffee dye them so they look old. All right, next crafting idea, a Renaissance junk journal with calligraphy, old paintings and gold. Yes, so I have started gathering stuff for this. So, where do I put this? Maybe find more stuff for the find list, or fetch. But I think no, it's find. So calligraphy, paintings, to the Renaissance JJ box. I have a special box for this journal where I'm gathering stuff for it. Yeah, that's the next step. Let's leave it at that. Cover boxes with rose fabric. I have started this. I have done it a lot actually, but it's a mass make thing, really. So it's no longer a someday maybe thing, because I do it whenever I feel like it. So I think I'm actually going to wrong color to cross it out, because I am on it. I think I've put it, no I haven't. I'll put it on these, on this mass making list. So I check this list when I'm listening to articles and documents at work to find something to do with my hands while I listen. So it's a good list to have. All right, one book per fantasy character. Yes, I'm world building a fantasy world and I'd like to make one book per character. And I have a lot of characters, so it will be a lot, but I think the same thing applies to find stuff for each character and put in one box each, just like the Renaissance junk journal. So this is like a continuous thing. When I see something that fits one of the characters, I'll put it in a box. Oh, okay. So the first thing is to find or sort of fix designated boxes for each character. So I guess that's more like fixing and not finding, because I need to cover it with rose fabric, like I said. So fix. One box per fantasy character. With the fabric. Okay. Another idea I have is to print my fanfics and my novels and make books out of them, you know. It's really complicated because, well, I mean, it probably isn't, but when you print something that's going to be folded into signatures, I don't know how you do that. So maybe the first step is to Google this and see if it seems too complicated. So I'm going to put it on my Googling list, but this page is almost finished and I want to keep this page blank because I'd like to put, when I Google information, I put it on the other side. So I'll start a new Googling list. What was I saying? Oh, how to print signatures to make a book. And you know, printing on both sides. Maybe I need to find a tutorial, because this is too much spatial thinking for me. What's this called? Grape book. I'd like to make a book, like a traveler's notebook, I guess, with strings in the spine. To well, we have written down what we eat every day in a sort of food calendar. So there's one calendar per year, and I'd like to store them in a book like this. Let's see. This is not for food calendars, but it's the kind of cover I'd like to make for them. But this cover should have grapes on the cover. The fabric on the cover is grape fabric, and I'd like to make a dangle out of spices like cinnamon and well, pretty spices. So one next action is to gather spices. So I get it's the fetching list. So spices for the spice dangle. Cinnamon. And this one I don't know what it's called, like star anise. No idea, it probably has a completely different name. What else can you put in a... I guess I'll need to Google that as well. Good looking spices. I need ideas. So what else? Well, I've just bought... I had a fabric with grapes on it, but now I'm not sure if I want to use that or a new fabric I bought at a second-hand store yesterday that was sort of lighter. The colors were lighter, and I might want to use that instead. So I guess choose which fabric to use. Which, oh, check thing. Use the new or the old grape fabric. Okay, let's move on. Prompt words in junk journals. So my idea here was to put, like, cut out words, you know, random words, and just put them in my junk journals too. So when I journal in them, I get ideas just from looking at the word, and I guess the first thing is to gather words, to cut them out. So I guess I should have a list, like gather. Do I have a list like that? I don't think I do. I mean, find is sort of like, yeah, I can find or gather. Both those words fit this list. So gather, what was I saying? Oh yes, words. So words that can be used as prompts and maybe whole little sentences. So cut them out and put them in a special box, I guess. A word box. Yeah. And then I guess just try it out. Then make TNs, traveler's notebooks, to keep brochures and maps and stuff in, and I mean, I constantly make them. I guess I could use an existing one and, you know, just check if it feels good to store things in it. Yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna add a word here. Check or test, which I should also put on this list. So check or test, find or gather. So put brochures or maps into the, what do I call this one? The gold and turquoise book, TN, just to see if I like it. Paint on secondhand paintings, not like when people flip secondhand paintings. So I guess I need to find a painting that isn't any good. So ugly painting to flip. I don't know if I like doing it, so I could even now that I think about it, you know, I don't need to paint directly on the painting. I can, because I tend to, when I paint backgrounds, and then I draw a figure on another piece of paper, I paint it, I cut it out, and then I glue it onto the background. So I can do the same thing with paintings. So glue figures separately. I think that's a better idea than, you know, attacking the actual painting. I will never dare do that, but I can draw something on another piece of paper, cut it out, and then, you know, and then I can check if it fits the landscape or whatever it is before I actually add it. Good idea. This one is to make like a bumblebee out of like fake fur fabric, fake fur. This is an idea I had when I was like 10 years old, and I wanted to, I think I saw something somewhere, some kind of well, animal, stuffed animal, and I wanted to do something similar, and I thought, oh, a bumblebee would be so cute. And I told my husband this the other day, and he said, well, why don't you do it now? And I wrote it down, but it's very unlikely that I'll do it. But I could watch videos about making stuffed animals just to see, you know, if I get inspired, I might just proceed. So I have an inspiration list. So I'll put DIY stuffed animals just to see. So ruffles on broad elastic. Well, I had this elastic that's, I don't have it here, but it's like this broad and it's pink, so it doesn't fit anything. And I thought I would sew ruffles on it to make it more versatile, like with another color fabric. So find fabric. I think purple is a good one, good color. because it fits many different things, or black. So black or purple to sew ruffles on elastic. And also, this is not here but on another list, because I was thinking I might sew ruffles on my handbag straps, because they are very worn. They don't look any good, so I might sew ruffles on them as well. So and or handbag straps, what's it called? Straps. Can't think of the Swedish word. Next up, I have a setup in my A5 binder with dividers, and I was going to glue ghost pictures on them. So the fixing list, I have to cut the pictures so that they fit. So cut a ghost picture for the divider in the A5 binder. Then I had an idea. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. This book I'd like to fill with memories. So I thought, since it's a rose book, I could call it Rosebuds, like Citizen Kane, wink wink, nudge nudge, and have quotes about memory and memories. Like, for example, gather your rosebuds while you may, very topical. And just write down everything that I remember from my life, basically. Which means, well, there are two ways of doing this. I could just write directly on the paper, or I write on, this one isn't on the strings, like on postcards, for example. And if I have it on postcards, oh, look at this, it's falling apart. If I have it on postcards, I can bring it with me, because this is another book from my planner, which is a bad thing in a way, because I want to have everything with me all the time, so I can journal about whatever I want, wherever I am. So if I have a special book for memories, that means I won't always have this book handy to write my memories. But if I write on these postcards, I can store the postcards in my planner, so I can write at any time. What a good idea. So I'll put these in my planner. No more. It will be too bulky. So I'm actually doing the next action while I'm here. Where to put it? I guess in the journaling section, actually. So there is a pocket here for those postcards, and I can journal about memories and then transfer them to that book. And then when I am at home, I can write directly into the book, or I write maybe quotes and stuff on the actual pages, and I only have memories on these cards. I don't know. But this means I will have to start... oh yes, I already have memories, but I think I need a reminder tomorrow morning when I'm journaling. On the next empty page, I'll just put memories on journaling cards in pocket. So that's how I'll get going on that idea. And I can also Google quotes about memory. For my Rosebud journal. Okay, make a folio for a TN. So that's, I've seen people do these amazing, beautiful folios, like, well, you put them on a string like this and you can have pockets and keep stuff in them. So here I have a boring, ugly folder, just the plastic folder that I've cut, no, not cut in half, I've folded it in half and put it on a string, but it could be a beautiful thing to keep my pictures in. So I guess I need a bit more inspiration perhaps for that, and just to see, because if I don't know what the next step is, I don't know how to do them, so I need to watch more videos about how to do them in order to figure out what my next step is. So folio with pockets for TN, and now I'm starting to write these in English because it's easier when I'm talking. Okay, next one, the final one on this list is to make a November insert, journaling insert for my planner from Starry Sky paper. So I have this gigantic astronomy book that I have butchered, and there are pages and pages and pages of starry skies, like space. And I would like to make, because November for me is all about stars and lights, like candles and tea lights, and because it's so dark, the snow hasn't come yet normally, and it's just dark all day long, basically. So for me, November has to do with all these, like, how to combat that darkness, and how to see beautiful things in the darkness, like stars. So I'd like to make an insert, like right now in August, I'm using this sort of Indian style insert for journaling with inked papers, and for November I'd like that insert to be, you know, stars, and I'll use a white gel pen to write, and it will be beautiful. So I guess gather papers that I want to use for that insert. So find and gather list. Star paper for November, and put it in its own box. Right, so we're done with the crafting ideas, and the next one is photography and filming. There's not a lot here because I used to photograph a lot, and I got sick of it. So I don't do it a lot, but I don't know if I want to do. I started doing tarot cards, my own sort of compositions. I'm not sure if I want to do that anymore, but I could make a mind map about it to see if I have any ideas that make me excited to do it again. So my mind mapping brainstorming list. So I'll just, I mean, I can go through an existing tarot deck and just think of all the cards and think, you know, what would I do with this card, and I can make a mind map out of that. And if something's you know, strikes me as interesting, I might run with it. I also have an idea to, or it's very vague, but to photograph stuff for Halloween to post, just because I don't celebrate Halloween in any way, but I like the aesthetic, you know, the whole October, spiders, black lace, pumpkin thing. So, and we have a skeleton in the basement, you know, from a school. It's not real. But I might do something with him. We call him Oswald because, well, it's sort of a play on words. Oswald, he's made of bones. And we also have an attic where it might be interesting. It's sort of, well, the roof, no, the ceiling is kind of, there's this aesthetic there that I might use. So I guess what I would need to do is to sit up there and brainstorm. So brainstorm in the attic on how to structure a photo. You know, you have to be in the space to be able to, or I need to be in the space to get ideas, basically. So, and also I might just brainstorm around Oswald. So photo ideas involving him. Yep. Then I have I don't know what it's called, a tripod for my camera that is, it's stuck. One of the legs is stuck, so I need to put some of this and see if it works. What's it called? WD-40? I mean, I don't know, that's what it's called in Sweden. So I guess that's the fixing. List. And I think the can is downstairs in the bathroom for some reason. Oh well, we're slobs. Freebies from photographed or scanned Bujo backgrounds. So I was thinking, I might scan these or photograph them, and it'll soon be too late because I've almost used up all this paper, so it will be the other half of this book that I haven't used yet. But to photograph or scan those and make freebies for people out of them, so I could sort of make PDFs, I guess, out of these backgrounds and give them away to people. I don't know if it's a good idea, but the next step is to try it out. I guess it's a fixing list, so test photographing the pages to see, you know, if the colors come out properly. And if that doesn't work, I'll need to use the scanner, and that's sort of a bigger operation. So I'll try just photographing them first. And I guess I need to print them to actually know if they are nice enough to give away, because otherwise people will just be pissed off. Filming. I have this video light that I should test, so I guess the first step is to take it out of its box and where did I'm going to check if there is a manual in the box. Yep. Then I should edit some film for my husband to use in, well, he made this radio program and we'd like to put pictures to it and, you know, make a film. So I would have to actually, I need a new context because this is computer stuff. So I'll put that on the cheat sheet as well, because that's its own kind of context. I think you need to switch it on. Maybe like in this case, I have footage on an external hard drive. So it's not like fixing things around the house or crafting or anything like that. You need to be at the computer. You need to, well, it's a specific place because it, never mind. It's its own context, just bear with me. What was it? Yes, find on the hard drive, find footage for this. And then final thing on the filming list, this was my husband's idea, because I tend to make books out of wine boxes. This is a wine box originally. So he said, why don't you film yourself drinking a whole box of wine, you know, pretending to drink a whole box of wine and then making your book. So it's a whole kind of lifestyle video. I'm not sure if that would be funny, but I could just film myself when I have a glass of wine and pretend to get drunk. And I guess that's also its own kind of context, actually, because it's filming. And that differs from other contexts. So, film myself while, because I'd like to film some B-roll footage for these videos, all the videos I do about planning and journaling. So filming will be its own context because I can put all sorts of ideas here about what to film. So when I feel like filming something, I can go to this list and just pick something. So, drinking red wine. Make a book out of the box. I'm getting tired now, but okay, I can do these three. This is painting and drawing, and the first idea here is Gothic script as underpants for my ghost painting. So underpants, what's her name? Laurie Marie Jenkins. She's a mixed media artist on YouTube. She calls them underpants. They're like when you prepare a surface with, well, like book pages and stuff. She calls that underpants. And I was thinking, I'm planning to paint Ghost, maybe Papa or Cardi C or something, and the underpants for that painting should be Gothic script. So I guess that is fixing. The fixing list Where is it? So, glue, Gothic script, and I have a lot. Wait, ghost, so, well, I guess the very first thing would be to rip the pages, but I can do that while I'm gluing, so that doesn't need to be its own next action, but it could be. Next one, draw with kohl and wipe the drawing 3 times and then use an eraser to bring out the image. I saw someone do this on YouTube. I think it was Cesar Cordova. I don't know how to say it, but he's an artist on YouTube. So I guess the first step would be to find something along the lines of kohl, like a very soft graphite pencil, whatever they're called. So kohl to draw with. I need to see, I mean, I have a lot of supplies, but I'm not sure about where. Next one, make watercolor out of markers. Like, for example, well, these are not markers, they are brush pens. But you can make watercolor. I actually did this for my journaling insert. I painted with this kind of pen on plastic, and then I sprayed it with water so it became kind of runny, and then I put it on the paper. But you can also use that watercolor to draw figures. I was watching a video by Jess Karp, who's an artist also on YouTube, and when she practiced drawing figures like poses and gestures in her sketchbook, she used watercolor instead of a pencil. So she didn't sketch, she immediately used watercolor, and I tried it and it really worked, because when you draw with a pencil you try to follow the lines, but when you draw with watercolor you can see the shapes and make the shapes, and it's more malleable while you're working, because a pencil line sits there until you erase it, whereas watercolor you can sort of move around and you can change the shape while you're working to match it to your reference image. So I liked that, and I thought I might, well, because I used my watercolor pencils for that, but I could also make watercolor to do it. So I guess the next step would be to just try it out. So maybe gather supplies. Brush pens, plastic, and brushes to paint figures and gestures. So I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick of it now. I mean, I have this whole book full of someday maybe lists, so I can't do everything at once. But I have done quite a lot by now. All of these, I've skipped the cabin, but now I've done these 3. So these and this one remain. what else can I say? Oh, yes. I have noticed since I started writing these lists that I notice things around the house. Like, for example, I have this painting I want to move a little bit because it's kind of wonky where it sits on the wall. So I wrote in my insert that I should, gather a nail and a hammer to do that. And since I've written that down, every time I walk past the hammer, I think of the painting. And also yesterday I saw this lone nail lying on a surface, a cupboard. And I thought, oh, that one might work. So when you write next action lists, you sort of make your projects more salient. They're higher up on the hard disk of your brain. So you can sort of, since you have it in your mind, you can notice things and do things when you... I'm botching this, I'm sorry, but it... If your someday maybe lists just sit in an insert like this, or in a section of your bullet journal or whatever, in a binder somewhere, and you never really process them. I mean, maybe you read through them, but you think like, well, that's for another day. But if you actually make possible next actions for them, those next actions will be more salient in your day-to-day life, and you might just, be at the shops or something and you think, oh, wait, I needed to buy this thing for that long-term project, and you buy it. So that's really a bonus effect of doing this. Even though they're not current projects, you can still move forward on them. So that's not entirely GTD, proper GTD, but I think it works. What else? Oh yes, there was this, my very first next action that I wrote down, ergonomic lingonberry picking, and I was kind of laughing when I wrote it because I thought, this is ridiculous. But I actually Googled it the other day and found a berry picker with a long, pole or stick that you don't have to bend over to pick the berries. You just sort of like a vacuum cleaner, a long stick with the berry picker at the very, very bottom, so you can just walk and pick like this. And they sell it close to where I live. But also I thought, because we have berry pickers, so maybe we can find some way to attach a stick ourselves with gaffer or a screw or whatever to make one of these. And so, I mean, I actually found an idea to pick berries more ergonomically. I really have trouble with that word. So that's another bonus or consequence of writing down these next actions. You never know what you're going to find. You might move forward on projects that you never thought were viable, or that felt very far away. So here's to hoping that you do the same.